This is the voice of freedom. We are not one voice. We are many. We are your voice. But we can only be effective if you use your voice. Your voice. This is the voice of freedom. We will not hide from the truth. We will ask the hard questions until we are sure we have the truth. Welcome to the voice of freedom, where your voice will never be silenced.
Well, g'day. Welcome to the show, and today I've got an adventure story for you. Regular viewers of the Voice of Freedom will know the name Michelle Lee. She is a marvellous lady based in Sydney who has already rowed across the Atlantic Ocean, some 3,500 miles, but that wasn't good enough for her. She has decided there is a bigger challenge, and that is called the Pacific Ocean. Now, she has her purpose-made ocean-going rowboat. Yeah, rowboat, no sails, ready to go. The Maid has made the journey across the Pacific on the back of a cargo ship. It has eventually arrived in America. And then, well, a whole new story begins. Let's hear it from the lady herself. Ladies and gentlemen, the bravest woman in the world, Michelle Lee. Hello, darling. How are you?
Hi, Carl. How are you, darling? I'm super enjoying this amazing sunshine every single day. I like to brag and I like to show off the difference between Sydney and Ensenada. We've got Sydney, we've got Ensenada. Sydney, can you see that?
Beautiful. Yeah, absolutely. So the tan is working up.
Yes. And I hear you guys are in lots and lots of water. So, you know, I'm loving my shorts and t-shirt weather.
Yes, it's been persistently precipitating recently in most parts of the country, but certainly down the East Coast it has been getting a flogging. Now, speaking of getting a flogging, you put the Maid on a cargo ship in Sydney, I think in April, and sent her across the Pacific a month and a half or so before you flew over. You didn't wind up going into the States like you'd planned. You wound up going to Mexico. The Maid wound up in America. There was, 600 or 700 miles between the two of you and a rather significant border crossing. Tell us the story. What happened when the Maid arrived on American soil?
Oh, wow. It was a roller coaster, and it was, touch and go even for a period of time, whether, looked like I wasn't even going to get possession of my boat, or it was going to cost me tens of thousands of US dollars to be reunited with my boat. So I had major dramas with the shipping agent in America, the clearing agent, who refused to clear me. And then, I had food on board as well, which I had all pre-approved prior to departure, but somewhere along a piece of paper went missing or didn't get lodged. So, here I am now trying to find a shipping agent who would take me on and clear me. I'm talking 3 full days. It was like a full-time job on the phone, just ringing agent after agent after agent. And then finally, it's amazing. One person, he just said, yeah, I can do that. And I was like, what? So he came highly recommended from my Sydney agent, and he just got given his name. So we called him and he's just like, yeah, I can do that. And then
We seem to be
don't have laggy.
Yeah, got a little bit laggy in there, but eventually, great. He managed to break through all the paperwork, and it was allowed out of the customs lock.
Yeah, it just boils down to laziness, people's willingness to just go that little extra mile. Anyway, so yes, we had the Maid released, and then with a lot of help from the locals here in Mexico, in particular, Tomas, who managed to get me towed down the coast from Oakland into San Diego. And then with another local, like Ensenada is so special, the amount of people that have come into my life so organically and so just, universally, divinely sort of sprung upon me in my world is insane. So then we had the help from a local here, Jose, who then towed my boat the rest of the way from San Diego across the border. And I have to say proudly, I managed to get across the border myself into USA to reunite with my boat and come across with her. And I'm proud to say, untested, unmasked, unvaxxed, and unafraid. So it's all part of the journey.
Good girl.
And we have broken all of the boundaries. We've, triumphed every single time. So yay, persistence pays off, people.
Absolutely brilliant. Because that was the big concern for you getting into America, wasn't it? You didn't have the appropriate jab paperwork.
Correct. Yeah. And I wasn't going to fake it either, because that's not being true to my core. It's not being true to my, what I'm spruiking. So, but in the end, I just waltzed through. Not one question was asked. And I was like, wow, how's that? So they obviously haven't updated the CDC website. Everything still states that you must be vaccinated to get into the country. And I end up just walking across the border, skipping.
Yeah, as you do.
Yeah.
So your original plan was to leave from under the Golden Gate Bridge in San Francisco, hence the boat turned up in Oakland. That plan had to change. You're not planning to row from Ensenada up the east coast or up the west coast of America, get to the bridge and turn around, come back again, are you?
No, I kind of think, screw America, you had your chance. I have fallen in love and been taken in by, the community in Ensenada in Mexico. And I will proudly row out of here with amazing support that I just, you just couldn't pay for this sort of support. Like, it's just come from the most amazing hearts, and so like genuine and so sincere. So I've just been so blessed.
So training wise, you've been separated from the boat, but I imagine you've found a gym with a rowing machine in it.
Yeah, I was doing my hours on the rowing machine each day as a non-negotiable, which more than anything for me, that's more mental to sit on an indoor rowing machine. But also, just keeps your rowing muscles active and just so that they don't, once you get on your boat, they're screaming, saying, what the hell are you doing? So as far as fitness goes, strength, I have no problems. I'm completely ready to go. I'm completely ready to attack this now and just let's get this job done.
Now, don't take this the wrong way, but I was lying in bed last night thinking about you, and I was wondering about the rowing process. Now, you might find this hard to believe. I haven't rowed a lot of boats. Difficult, understandable. My understanding of rowing a boat, though, is that your back is to the direction of travel. Do you plan on rowing the whole way, or do you ocean rowers spin around on the seat and sort of somehow manage to reverse your action to give the other muscles a rest, or give the back muscles a rest and use your front ones occasionally? I don't know if that's a thing. Is that possible?
I did try that actually in Sydney. I thought it would be a good idea that, maybe every time I'm boiling my water, I could actually do that. So instead of pulling, I could stand, turn and face the other way and push. But it's just really not practical, to be honest. And, for the space that I have, and you're on an unstable platform, it's not really realistic. So, no, I spend the whole time looking at where I've come from. And you just get in a beautiful little rhythm. You really do.
Oh, I'm sure. So you're not going to be maybe you are, I don't know. Are you going to row the normally trafficked shipping lanes, or are you going to be off those shipping lanes?
I will be off them. Look, I'd love to be in the currents that they take advantage of, but you don't really want to be in their shipping lanes because, when you look at marine traffic, there is a hell of a lot out there. And, they're very intimidating to be next to those big ships. So I won't be in the actual lanes, so to speak. But, hopefully I'll be taking advantage of the currents that they do. And obviously the easterlies, I need those easterly winds behind me, pushing me home.
So I can see over both your shoulders a couple of sets of oars. How many sets of oars do you have on board? And is losing an oar a thing? I mean, it must happen.
Yeah, it does. In fact, there's a rower out there at the moment rowing to Ireland from California, and he has already lost 3 oars in one night. So in one night on day 25, which was probably about a week and a half ago now, he capsized 3 times. And in that capsize, his boat took a bashing. You know, his aerials got damaged. He lost 3 oars. He lost a bucket. That's carnage. That's massive loss in one incident, basically. Well, 3 incidents in 24-hour period. But that's the reality of what can happen. And, you know, you basically, every time you stow and store your boat, you have to do it with that mentality that the next wave could be the one that wipes you out. So you have to be very diligent the way you stow and store. You know, I always make sure that I'll lock my seat off. You know, if I lose my seat, I do not have a spare. There are certain things you don't have a spare of. You know, for example, a rudder, I don't have a spare. My rowing seat, I can't rebuild a new one. I have 6 oars in total. Yes, they do break. However, I am still rowing on my very first set that I trained on in Sydney for the Atlantic. Then that set got me 68 days across the Atlantic, and I am still rowing on the same set. So I've got 4 brand spanking new ones that I've never used before. And they can be used left or right. So, you know, if I basically break one, I would keep it in the pieces so that I could use it to splinter other oars down the track if I had to. You're always just thinking of redundancy. You're always just thinking of, you know, makeshift out of whatever you've got. So, but yeah, at this stage, I'm still rowing on my original pair.
So we see a bit of solar there mounted on the gunnels. How much power do you have on board?
I've got about 360 watts of solar panels, and then I have 375 amp hour deep cycle system lithium batteries. So they were supplied by a man in Queensland from Deep Cycle Systems. So I'm very well powered for the expenditure. So for the equipment that I have to power, which is my Simrad chart plotter, my autopilot, I have a water maker, which actually is my most hungry or most fuel zapping equipment. So she'll draw 12 amps in a day. I will make 15 litres of water every day, and that'll cost me 12 amps. So everything is about expenditure. You know, you've got to know how much all your equipment costs, so that in the event that perhaps I haven't had sun for several days, I might have to start shutting stuff down and conserving and preserving. So obviously my water is my most important, so I would try to maintain enough amps for her. However, I do love my autopilot as well. So, you know, she makes my life much easier.
I want to ask about the autopilot. So, you are rowing unassisted across the Pacific. That means people can't just pull up to you and throw you a drink or an apple, nothing of the sort. But an autopilot is allowed. I can't imagine it does anything when you're asleep other than keep the nose pointed in the general direction of Australia. Is that what it does?
Correct. Yeah, spot on. So it'll just hold my rudder on a bearing, and it's a rough bearing. You know, I still get pushed and shoved around by the wind, but she also gives me the ability, you know, like during the day when you're rowing, she just needs propulsion. She just needs, you know, something moving you, and then she'll hold that bearing. So it means I can go into like a Zen-like state. I can literally have nano naps. I can shut my eyes, especially when it's a really nice sea state, and I don't have to concentrate so much on, you know, what's going on with, you know, where I put my oars in what wave and that sort of stuff. So I can literally shut my eyes and meditate. So I do lots of dynamic meditation where I've been practicing it on the indoor rowing machine, and it's 40 minutes before I even open my eyes and look at the time. And I'm like, oh my God, I've been on here for 40 minutes in this very beautiful Zen state, which I'm using Jose Silva. That's the mind method that I am using. I've adopted it more than 2 years ago. When I knew that I was going to row the Pacific, I knew I had to build this mental toolbox, and I chose Jose Silva. So I just go into these states. I go and heal people. I bring people into my mind. I do a lot of visualization of what I want things to look like, you know, and I play it like a movie in that alpha state. So it's so powerful. You know, like I said, 40 minutes is gone, and I open my eyes and think, wow, it feels like I just got on here. So it's a great way to pass the time. And it's also very healing. It's healing and regenerating and rejuvenating for your body.
The power of meditation just amazes me that you could still be in that situation and rowing and be completely, if you like, unaware and in a rested state. Absolutely amazing. Must be hell for people at the gym behind you, though, waiting to get on the rower. I mean, I'm only going to be here for 9 hours, folks. You can get on after that. Oh, there you go. Got you back now. Don't know how much of that you heard. It was one of my best jokes of the day. Oh, we're getting a little bit laggy. Fingers crossed that'll all improve. Oh, that's looking hopeful. Or really bad, one of the two. Oh, she's back. There you go.
I missed all that with a lag.
Yeah, sorry. Well, it's all right. It was a very funny joke. Everybody else laughed. So you've got a drink there. Now, this takes me back to the water. You're making 15 litres a day. How much water are you going to use a day?
So my meals are quite thirsty. They're dehydrated meals, so they all require between 300 and 400 mils each, and I will be having at least 4 of those per day. So there's 1.6 litres just in meals. Then I'll have 2 cups of tea, so there's another.
Oh.
And then I bathe as well. So because I have so much power on board, I indulge in the luxury of a fresh freshwater rinse every single day without fail. I never missed a beat coming across the Atlantic. I completely suds myself up, rinse myself down, and that is a luxury that I have because I have so much power.
It must be amazing to be standing naked in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean at the time, sudding yourself up and washing yourself down. It's just mind-boggling.
And then I used to spend that last, so I would do that sort of with the really soft setting sun, and it was coming down on my back. And then I would, row for half an hour naked so I could air dry, because you don't have towels on board. I'm not staying in the freaking Sheraton hotel with, fluffy white towels. So I would just air dry. It was just beautiful. That used to be one of my most favorite times of my day.
What is the favorite piece of equipment you have on the boat?
I'd have to say, it's got to be the autopilot, right? It has to be the autopilot. But I've got so many great things on this boat now, because while I was rowing the Atlantic, and I did actually say several times, now, if I was to row another ocean and I'd list all these things I want on my boat, I thought I would refine and tweak the Maid, and she would just be, So together with Joe from Fibre Marine, everything I just asked for, he made happen. So I said, I want an electric tap this time. So before, I used to have to siphon my water out of, one jug into all of my bottles and fill up everything manually. Well, now, darling, I just have a switch. It's an electric tap. I just hit the tap and it comes out.
Sherry.
He has completely plumbed my water maker, so there's no setup anymore. It's all plumbed through the hull, comes out, fills up my 15-litre container, and then that container has the plumbing for the tap that comes straight out of it. It's incredible. I've also got on this boat now an electric bilge pump. Last time I used to have to stand there and pump. What I'm standing in is called my footwell. I used to have to pump and empty that out every single day by hand. Well, now I just click the switch. Hear that? Can you hear that? That is my electric. So, and also we've turned my manual water maker on, which is my, you need spares and redundancy. So if my electric water maker dies and I can't revive it, I then have my handheld, which is a big unit with a big arm that you have to spend 2 hours a day pumping to produce 9 litres. Well, that's A, 2 hours off the oars. B, it's energy wasted. So I said to Joe, I'm sliding backwards and forwards over and over and over again. Why can't we make something, rig up something so that we can, maybe attach it to my seat, so when I push my legs out, the arm comes up. When I come in, the arm comes down. So Joe did that. He went home and thought about it, and he came back the next day, and he, did this little rig. And then next thing you know, he glassed an extremely beautiful little case for this thing to be mounted on. It is now mounted on the floor. It's attached to my seat, and I can be making an extra 9 litres of water a day just while I'm rowing. And it creates hardly any resistance on my seat. So, this boat now it's just little things like a soap dispenser. I now have a liquid soap dispenser, so I just press the button and I've got, things are just more simplified. And Joe said everything I'm doing is just to make your life easier out there, Michelle. So
Yeah,
I love
wonderful. Yes, thank you very much, Joe. Your hands must take a hell of a beating
Yeah, they
during
do.
trips like this. What can you do? What do you do? So I was talking to somebody about you the other day, and they said, "Oh, she must have hands like concreters." Um, I mean, how many calluses do you have, and what sort of damage are you expecting? Because repeated or continual exposure to salt water does have detrimental effect to skin, doesn't it?
Yeah. So, number one, wounds don't heal so well when you're out there. So, the key is to treat them early, and that's what I failed to do the first time. So, I didn't treat them like a wound or with the respect that they really deserved early enough. And then by the time I thought, oh shit, I better do something, it was really too late. So this time, I guess, with lessons learned, I'm going to treat them a whole lot better from the get-go. I still don't wear gloves, and I will never wear gloves because I've never done it in training. I did the world record on a rowing machine. I never, ever wore gloves then. I've never worn gloves during any sort of training, so forget that. But the key is, yes, you need the calluses, but I let them get so big, and then they tore, and then they had the holes inside them, and I trim them regularly now. I've got a nail file. I just file them down and just keep them at a really manageable level. And I also have made different little hand, like little condoms for my oar handles, so that I've got different surfaces to grip over, old stuff all the time. I learnt with, even my clothing was to change my clothing frequently. So I didn't have the same seam lines just rubbing on the same spot over and over again.
Right.
So I would change my outfit a couple of times a day. And I'm going to do the same with my hands this time. So I just think with lessons learned and, using a little bit of alcohol on them and just things I didn't do last time, I think I'm going to end up in far better shape.
Have you learned how to fish?
I've learned how to gut and kill a dead fish. So I got
Well,
to
the dead
practice
fish
on
is
a
already
dead
killed.
No, but they told me how you kill it. They said pretend this is alive. So I had to go in with the knife and take it on that angle and blah blah blah, just behind the gills. And they said, but now imagine that this body is going to be flapping around and carrying on like a pork chop. And it was all very traumatizing for me. And it was dead. But anyway, no, I haven't fished, but I will do it, and I will get there. I know I'll be eating beautiful fillets of fish. I've got lovely condiments and lovely salts and things with chili and ginger and garlic, and that I'm going to be cooking it in. I've got my pan, some coconut oil. I've got rice, soy sauce, wasabi. We've got pickled ginger. I have, all the good stuff to fish and to just enjoy some fresh stuff every now and then. Hello, Carl. Hello. I've lost you, Angel. I think I've lost Carl. Carl. There you are. I lost you.
Sorry. Don't know what happened there. The whole world came to a grinding halt, which was just embarrassing. I'm very sorry. At any rate, we're back. Where were we up to? We were talking about your calluses and how you're trimming those. That's all pretty good.
Yes,
Gotta ask,
and my fishing.
you get a sore bum?
You do, and you do get like little sores on your bottom. Again, I didn't suffer anything like the rowers normally do, and I think that's because I wash in fresh water every single day, and I do it twice a day. Before I go into my cabin to sleep at night, I do a final wipe over in fresh water from top to bottom. So I'm quite extravagant with fresh water, and I do believe that that was part of my savior. But, you know, I mean, look, there's just that much friction going on for that many hours a day, and it's every single day that it's kind of unavoidable. And your tolerance levels just increase. They really do, because you've got a job to do, right?
Yeah.
What do you do?
Yeah. So, how are you set up audio wise? Do you play music on the boat while you're rowing, or is it just going into your ears off your iPhone?
I have a little portable deck speaker, so I don't often have things in my ears when I don't spend much time with anything in my ears. I just listen to it on a speaker. So I have lots of powerful, mind-altering, positive material. So in terms of Audible, I have all of Joe Dispenza, Dr. Bruce Lipton, I have Greg Braden, just really positive, uplifting, mind-altering material.
Yeah.
And then I've got a very daggy music listening material, probably daggy to anybody else, but, you know, it's just stuff that I can bop along to.
Yep. Yep.
And,
we all have daggy music taste.
then I've got some couple of sort of, they're not novels, they're more like, you know, Shackleton's Endurance. So I love listening to history, Mawson's you know, adventure, and so I've got a couple of those on my iPod as well. And I also have Learn Spanish. So I'm going to be able to get off in Sydney. When I get off in Sydney, I should be able to have decent conversational Spanish skills. And I'm going to treat my 6 till 9 shift, my very first rowing shift every day, is my Spanish lesson. So I'll just be listening to the Audible over and over again. And, you know, by the time I get there, I should be able to pull something out of the bag.
So after 3 hours rowing, 6 till 9, you take a break. How long is that break?
Usually about half an hour. It's just long enough to eat. It's long enough to boil the water and scoff something down and get back on the oars, basically. So I pretty much will row in 3-hour shifts, have my half-hour break. In the middle of the day, I always will have a nap. I followed that protocol on my first row. It was a 20-minute nap. And I used to just lay down on my deck in that space there. And I used to put my feet up on my chair. And I used to just have a beautiful 20-minute nap. I never set a timer. And I never said to myself, you're only sleeping for 20 minutes. But that's all it ever was. It was this side of 20 minutes. And it revived me. So I will stick to that again because it worked. And I will be aiming to complete 14 hours a day, row for 14 hours every day.
How many litres of sun protection do you carry on board?
I probably got about 3 litres in total. And I actually only went through not even a litre. It was probably 3/4 of a litre on my first row. That was 68 days. Because I wear long sleeve all day. Like I'm very diligent, and I never got sunburnt once. So I've been decked out with shark skin. They're Australian, and they kit me out with all the gear so that I'm protected from the sun. And then when it gets really hot, I used to just take it off, dip it in fresh water, and put it back on wet. You know, it was like a radiator. It was fantastic. So
wonderful.
I know that I have more than enough on board.
So the journey itself is a bit over 14,000 kilometres, and you said you've had 68 days experience out on the ocean, open ocean. How long this time round are you estimating it's going to take you?
I reckon it'll be about 200 days, and I can only base it on the 3 that have already done it. So there was 189 days, 209 days, and 336 days. So they've gone solo, non-stop, unassisted.
Okay.
And they compare apples with apples. Took 336, so you can't compare us to him. So I think I'll be around 200 days.
Well, you know, all power to you. I can't imagine the mental strength that you have developed to get you through that. It's going to be amazing. We won't have the opportunity to really speak with you while you're crossing because, funnily enough, the internet isn't all that flash in the middle of the Pacific. But you do have a satellite phone. You will be in contact with your base, and Molly's there. We'll be keeping in contact with her to find out how you're going. But there are ways that we can follow you online, can't we?
Absolutely, yeah. So I have a tracking device called the Yellow Brick Track. So people will just have to download the YB Races app on their phone, and then they go and search my race, which is Great Pacific. Well, it's not a race. I call it a race. They just go and search my event, which is Great Pacific Row.
Great Pacific Row. Easy
So
enough to go on.
I'll send you the link so you can share.
Oh, beautiful. We'll do that, and we'll absolutely share it. Can't wait to follow your journey. I want to have a bit of a look at your boat, though. Now, as you mounted me earlier, is there any chance you can unmount me now and take me around your Maid?
I can very gracefully dismount you, darling. So bear with me. There we go. Whoa. It wasn't actually a graceful dismount after all. Okay, so welcome on board. She is a 7.7 meter carbon fiber foam hull. She's a combination of 5 and 8 mil foam core, and which means she's just extremely light and extremely buoyant. So I'll start from the bow, which is the front of the boat, and this is my garage. So this is the equivalent of your garage at home where you chuck everything. It's got all my spares, and I packed this so neat and tidy today. This is neat and tidy, okay? So my grab bag, which is an essential piece of kit if you're going to ditch. So if you're going to ditch your boat and hop in your life raft, you need to take that with you. So that has a spare water maker in there, a handheld water maker. It has flares, some water rations, some revolting high calorie dense cardboard style biscuits that you could survive on. It's got signaling mirror, whistles, a PLB, which is your personal locating beacon. Everything you need to survive is in this bag. Then in here I also have this is my other water maker, the one that Joe has made a mount for so that I can make water whilst I row. That is that. Is like all of my other stuff, including things like there's a stove, there is an immersion suit in there, there is my pan so that I can do my fish when I'm cooking my fish. I've got a set of sheets in there so that I can change my bed at some point during my row. All my gas canisters here for my cooking. I boil water, but what else is in there? I've got 2 spare autopilots. They're mounted very neatly in this corner in a little case, which Joe made. They're there.
Oh, wonderful.
A spare US. It's called the Go Sun Go, and it can boil just using the sun's energy.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Reduce of gas that I use. So it just opens up. Excuse me, I'm sorry about this. Poor, because I'm holding it at the same time. So it just opens up. It's got a little bracket. It's glass. This is a glass canister. I put water in there, and it boils. I will be making my water for my next meal. So I won't use much gas on board. This is insane. Like, I cannot believe when he gave me this. I was like, wow, this is life changing. It's a game changer.
Well, I was going to ask, how many gas bottles do you carry?
And look, these are the things that you've got to try to calculate. You know, you've got to go, okay, well, I'm going to be having 4 meals a day, so I've got to boil at least 4 liters of water. And then you go through, you know, what the gas canister suggests that, you know, how it says it takes 1.5 minutes to boil a liter. You're doing all these calculations to work out, okay, so I'm out there for 200 days. So I'm really quiet. There's a lot of logistics. There's a lot of work. So I'm really in love with my Go Sun Go. And then
I would be
as you
too.
look at my deck, yeah, it's going to be a game changer. You can see all these little hatches with numbers on them.
Yeah.
They hold all of my food. So all of my food, I'm talking 1,440 meals, is stored underneath my deck, all under here, all through the center. And so I live on dehydrated meals mainly, and they're being supplied by Campus Pantry. They purposely repackaged everything for me because I couldn't accommodate 1,440 actual individual packs. That's a lot of packaging. Think of the rubbish, which I've got to keep on board. I can't just chuck it overboard.
No.
So I requested them to put, anywhere between 6 and 10 meals in one bag, so that I don't have so much rubbish to handle, and the space that all takes. So they did that for me, and people are amazing. People that come on board and just say yes. I need that. I can't afford for people to be, wishy-washy, 1 foot in, 1 foot out. So that's what it looks like. This is just jam-packed with dehydrated meals, and then my seat is a sliding seat, of course, traditional. So I just row forward and back all day, every day. And so I've got 8 wheels, they're skater wheels, actually, that I've packed out with marine grease to protect them from and stop the salt water from getting in. I did that last time. I got across on one set of bearings, never had to change them. They never squeaked, didn't combust. A lot of people's bearings typically will freeze and seize up. But I think if you really look after your gear, it'll look after you. That's my theory. So you can see my solar panels on the gunnels. And then as we move forward, that's my rowing gates, my Rolex, and my shoes. This is where my feet go. So it was really important for me to have a shoeless rowing option in my first row. So I went to one of Sydney's best surfboat builders, and I said to him, I want you to make me a pair of shoeless rowing options. And I gave him a little fitting and fixture, and I said, it has to fit onto this. He did it. He delivered. It was perfect. Wow. So my steering lines for my rudder, which is how I steer my boat, my steering line to the right heel of this foot. And that is how, so my foot goes in there, and then I steer with my heel. However, remember, I love my Angel, my autopilot. So she actually does most of the steering for me. So she is here. That's my autopilot right there. So
bit laggy.
This arm here has been adapted to suit my boat. So it's taken a fair bit of engineering masterpiece, and that whole setup there, that came complimentary from Tony and his mate Justin. So what's this? Touch.
You've just received some extraordinary help.
Oh, unbelievable. Like the collaboration of
we seem to have jammed up again. Unbelievable. Well,
you got me back?
I got you back now. Yep, that's going great. There you go.
Okay, so I'm taking.
We might just get you to. The kitchen. Looking forward to that bit.
So that's my kitchen. That's my galley.
Wow.
The galley. And then we added an extra galley. I've got in a storage, thanks to God. And that's where it all happens. There's my room, my bed. You love her?
And beautifully decked out, can I just say? It looks like, can I say what it immediately reminds me of? It reminds me of the inside the bottle of the genie.
I dream of Genie. I know. I thought the same thing. So this here is obviously I sleep straight down the middle. All of my belongings are stowed and stored in elastic baskets that I installed before we left, so that I don't have to have things loose. Like, I just shove it behind that nice elastic basket. I've got some on the ceiling, and I spend a fair bit of time sitting here. So normally that'll be empty. This little space here will be empty, and I sit here. I wedge myself up here, and it's very comfortable. I put my legs out, spread them out, and put them here. This is new. This box here is storage. This used to just be a void space, waste of space. So
Right.
Joe he glassed a beautiful box, and he put that there. So that's just
Wonderful.
full of stuff. It's just a very good storage unit. Then of course my electric is very.
Yeah, can't imagine how important it is that you keep those safe. Oh, we've locked up again, folks. The dangers of international phone calls.
Oh,
Oh, we got you
there we
back.
go.
There you go. We get a bit locked up. So
And
it's
I
go
just
ahead.
got to show you my fans. So I've got 2 fans.
Oh, we dropped out again. Got 2 fans. I think she's saying there's one inside. Sorry, have a go. Now you're back.
And then you got to check out this fan. I love it. This is my new fan, and it has a fancy light on there as well. I've got a red light. I got a white light, and I can turn it up with a dial.
Nothing
Turn it up
quite
and down
like
with a
having
dial. Oh my God, this is
nothing
very
quite like
fancy,
having
this one.
a dimmer switch.
I love it. And the poodle. I've got the poodle.
How wonderful.
It's a little teddy bear
now
poodle.
we spoke about that before you left. How gorgeous is that? That is just simply wonderful.
I got 2 teddy bears this time because my oxytocin levels were low last time. I got told that by a psychologist that you would have been suffering with low oxytocin. I said, what do I do for that? And she said, you can hack all your feel-good hormones. She said, to get a dose of oxytocin, that's the love drug, the touch, the feel, the pat, the pet, the kiss, the cuddle, the hug, that sort of drug. So she said, make sure you take some teddy bears that you can hold. And she said, it works for children. It will work for you. I'm like, okay. So these were given to me with lots of love by Janine and Desi, and this was by Karen, my flatmate, and this is her poodle.
Yeah, it's just gorgeous. I love that poodle pillow. So I know your departure is weather dependent, but it seems to be you are getting a narrow window of opportunity to depart Mexico and begin the journey. Unfortunately, that narrow window is going to be between 2 hurricanes. Is that right?
Yeah, so you get hurricanes just building and coming up the coast pretty much constantly now. So my weather router, he would like to get me out on a 7-day gap. So recently they were on a 4-day gap. So as soon as one passed, 4 days later, another one was coming through behind it. And he said, I just want to get you out with 7-day gap. So he's very confident he'll get me out of here. I feel good about it. I'm not stressed. We'll just give it my best red hot shot. I've got the guys on alert here in the marina. Coral Marina has been unbelievable here in Ensenada. And the guys that have taken me under their wing, oh my God. I wouldn't have got this support in Sydney. I know that. And I wouldn't have got this support in USA. Like, this is a special place with special people. So they're on high alert. They're going to watch me. And if it looks like I'm going to drift into land, because that's the risk. The risk is that the wind will push me back into land mass. They will come and get me. So, I've got to be prepared that I may have a failed attempt. I've got to be prepared for that. You've got to prepare for the worst, and hopefully you don't need to go there. But so people will come and get me if I need to be towed in. It won't happen though.
Beautiful.
I'm going.
No, I hear you. So I have one probably final question. It relates back to your oars. You've got 6 on board. You mentioned the guy who's had the battle at the moment. He's lost 3, still has enough to keep going. In the event of a catastrophic failure, you lose 5 of your 6 oars. You're left with one way to paddle around in circles. What happens? What happens to you in that event?
Look, if you seriously cannot splint something together and makeshift it, there are certain incidences where it's game over, right? So you've got to know when to walk away, know when to run,
Yeah.
But, I would hope that I have enough knowledge and skill set and will to join shit together to make it happen. Do you know what I mean? I've got enough gear on board. I've got epoxy resin. I've got cloth. I've got, and I built my boat, remember? So I've spent time on the tools. I've spent time using the all of the gear. And that gives you the confidence just to give it a crack. If it's broken, just fucking try and get together with something, for God's sake. You know what I mean? Rebuilding my seat would be a challenge. That would be a challenge. But
I reckon.
Pretty much, I'm pretty well decked out with spares for everything, like I said, except a rudder. And you know what? It has been proven, though, that the currents will take you to landmass somewhere. So I will, if I did nothing and I just went and locked myself up and ate myself stupid the whole way across the Pacific, I will end up somewhere. I will end up on some island somewhere. So I know that for a fact. Kontiki proved that. There's La Bolsa, they proved that. So with trade winds, etc., I'll end up somewhere.
Michelle, you are the bravest woman I've ever met. And I can't wish you anything but the greatest of success on this journey. And well, depending on when you get out, as you say, your weather guy's trying to give you a 7-day hole to get out. Do you have an idea? I did hear through the channels that you were thinking sometime early August.
Yes, we are thinking somewhere in the first week of August. I'm just showing the Mexican flag off because I'm so proud to be here and fly their flag.
Absolutely.
And so we are thinking, and the Keys Marina, thank you, Richard, I love you. He's amazing. I am thinking, well, Roger is thinking between 1, 2, 3, or 4 of August. So it's one day before my birthday. I turn 50 on the 5th of August.
Oh, wow.
So I would love to think that I can be out there for my birthday, even if it's on the day of or the day before. And I already have my parcel to open, thanks to my training buddy, my warrior training buddy, Michelle. She's given me a parcel for my birthday.
Wonderful.
So, fingers crossed I'll be out there before the 5th.
Well, our fingers are crossed for you too. Can't wait to follow your journey and a safe crossing. If I don't get to speak to you before you launch, then please be very safe. I'll be in touch with Molly for your entire crossing, and if we do get the opportunity somewhere to hook up, maybe just via your satellite phone, I would love the opportunity to just touch base with you in the next 200 plus days, just to see how you're going. All right. I don't know whether or not you heard any of that, but we'll try and keep in touch.
And I just want to say a massive thank you to my main sponsors. I did. I heard it. Yes, we will have a chance to touch base. We absolutely will while I'm out there.
Oh, she's gone. Well, there you go. We were having a few troubles from Mexico. Maybe it was my end. I don't think so. But unfortunately, she's dropped out. With a bit of luck, she'll be on the road on the water to Australia in the next week or so. We will keep you up to date with what's going on with Michelle Lee, an absolutely amazing lady, and about to take a huge plunge to row across the Pacific Ocean, 14,000 kilometers from Ensenada in Mexico to the Sydney Harbour Bridge. And she's just logging back into the green room now. There we go. We got her back. Yay!
Sorry. It's one of the challenges, internet. But I just want to say a massive thank you
we get a massive thank you to, and we don't get their name. How annoying. Try that one more time. A massive thank you to... Oh, still locked up. There you go. Now I think we're
Hello?
getting you again. Yeah, now we're getting you again.
I've lost you, Carl.
Oh, I can sort of still hear you.
Ah,
There you
okay,
go.
there you
I've
go.
got
You're
you back.
back.
Flags are moving.
So I just want to say thank you to my 3 main sponsors that got me here. And, and they are individuals. I'm talking Janine from the Silver Method, Richard from the Keys Marina, and of course, Ricardo and his beautiful bride, Rhiannon from Australia One. So without these people, none of this happens. And massive thank you, massive gratitude. Thank you.
Absolutely. And Australia One right behind you. I know Ricardo and Rhiannon have, really been behind you from the get-go for this, and they're thinking of you at the moment, as we all are, as you're about to embark on what must be one of the most amazing adventures of anyone's life. And at the end of it, can't wait to hear the stories. Going to be just an amazing tale. There's got to be a huge book in this at the end of this, girl.
Yeah, I'll be writing it while I'm out there. That's another, just something to do while I'm out there. I will be writing it.
And we didn't mention that you're also taking on board, I think, a whole heap of GoPro cameras. You're going to be filming a lot of the trip, and we may get to see that, in years ahead when that's all been edited.
Yeah, I do video everything that, every opportunity. I am the GoPro queen. So I do take lots of footage, and who knows, we might be able to do something special one day with it.
Look forward to really would be an amazing journey. Absolutely amazing. If Albie Mangles can make a fortune out of a trip around Australia, surely to God you can do the same coming across the Pacific. All right. I'm going to let you go because...
Thanks, Angel.
I know you've got, it's getting into the evening there. You've got to go and have your meal and catch up with your family and get ready for the morning swim with those early morning Mexicans you like going for a dip with.
Yeah, it's amazing. Honestly, so amazing.
Yeah, wonderful. Listen, Michelle, love you to bits. All power to you. Please be safe and Godspeed as you cross the ocean from Mexico to Australia. The mind boggles. And I bow down to your bravery at every step. Congratulations for stepping up on behalf of all of us, and please be safe.
Thanks, Carl. Much appreciated, darling. You'll hear from me.
Oh, yeah, we're looking forward to it. We're looking forward to it. I can't wait to get a phone call from the middle of nowhere. It's going to be amazing.
Uh-huh.
All right.
All right, darling. Bye-bye.
Love you.
Thanks, everybody.
Bye-bye, sweetheart.
You let one ant stand up to us, then they all might stand up. Those puny little ants outnumber us 100 to 1. And if they ever figure that out, there goes our way of life. It's not about food. It's about keeping those ants in line. That's why we're going back. Does anybody else want to stay? Let's rock!